Hello and welcome to the final round coverage of the 21st annual Crush on the Concho presented by Lone Star Disc. Thank you to our presenting sponsors for this tournament, Cosmic Disc Golf, D-Town Disc Golf, and Reaper Disc Supply. I'm Nathan Johnson, and today I am joined in the virtual booth by Dave Oster. How's it going, Dave?
Great, super excited. This is going to be an amazing card, probably the biggest names we've ever had on the channel, starting off with none other than Nikko Locastro, Andrew Fish, both 17 down, accompanied by Nicholas Rowton, who we saw the last round, definitely local who can shoot well, and the horseshoe putter, Jake Hebenheimer, just one stroke behind. So going to be a very exciting round of golf, starting off on hole 1, par 3, 360 feet, straight shot down this not OB road, and just a little bit of finish to the left to find the pin. Thanks to D-Town Disc Golf for sponsoring our tournaments.
Yeah, should be a very exciting day out here.
From St. Louis, Missouri, sponsored by Lone Star Disc and Flight Club, we've got Nikko Locastro.
Yeah, as they said, Nikko leading off the card. I'm super excited to see how Nikko looks throwing these new discs for 2023. We know Nikko likes to throw those overstable flex lines here. He's just going straight hyzer on hole 1, pretty wide open stock shot for these guys, and that looks like a great start.
Thank you. From San Angelo, Texas, sponsored by Lone Star Disc and Big Country Beef Jerky, we have Nick Rowton.
Nick, local guy from Texas. Correction, I said in round 1 that Charlie was the runner-up last year at this tournament, but it was in fact Nick, so he's looking to finish here strong and try to match that finish from last year, or maybe even best it. And this looks pretty good out of his hand, a little bit of turn. Gets a little bit of ground play, and that'll leave him a birdie putt on hole number 1.
From Baltimore, Maryland, sponsored by Discraft, Upper Park, and Disc Golf Brawl, we have Andrew Fish.
Fish, our third player, sitting at 17 under par here going into the final round. I think this is his first year doing a full tour as a professional disc golfer. So really exciting to see him out there representing the Northeast, as me and Dave are both from. So maybe a little biased in the booth, but we still love to see some good disc golf. That's a nice shot there from Fish. Maybe a little long, but he'll have a birdie putt.
Sponsored by Latitude, we've got Jake Hebenheimer.
Of course, rounding out the card, Jake Hebenheimer. You all know him for his unique putting style, but a very talented thrower of the disc. Coming off a top 20 finish in Vegas, he's looking to keep that going, and that's a nice tee shot. Maybe a little short as well, but he'll have a putt.
And one
Looks
of the
like
big
it was a little.
I'm sure you could see right off the bat is the difference in the weather. Everybody's shirts blowing. Going to be a big factor in the round. Finally getting that Texas wind we've been waiting for.
I know, we've been waiting for it all weekend, and finally we get it. I was just about to bring it up, but yeah, you're right on, Dave. Finally. Oh, wow. Really good bid there. I am very interested to see how Jake's putt holds up in this Texas wind, because typically, as you see, Nick, the local, with that nice spinny putt, typically holds up better in strong winds than your up and down pitch putters do. So it'll be very interesting to see how these different players attack. As you can see, Nikko as well will likely be going to his more staggered stance, spinny putt than the up and down pitch putt that we sometimes see him do. So something to keep an eye on throughout the round, as we can hear and see the conditions were a lot more blustery than the previous 2 days.
Absolutely, and as we move over to hole 2, thanks to Reaper Disc Supply for sponsoring this. Par 4, 658 feet. We saw on the first round players going up high to the left, big flex max distance line. Some of them may do that, but the wind conditions may deter them from doing that and try to just go straight up the gut. So we'll see what they decide to do.
Yeah, typically in windy conditions like this, you'll see players try to keep the disc lower to the ground to minimize the left to right movement. But Nikko, he does not care at all. He's going over the top, huge flex backhand. Oh, wow. Gets it to hold over almost the entire time. Ton of distance way out there to the right. This is probably a more traditional line. You'll see from Nick a little flip up forehand. Gets a huge flare skip back to the fairway. That's a really nice shot from him. If you didn't see the first round of this tournament, we are back on the Temp course at middle Concho. And this course, you see a lot of holes similar to this, where you have a shorter par four, maybe mid 600 feet, where it doesn't really matter where you go off the tee as long as you're making forward progress, and then you can kind of figure it out from there. Maybe scramble your way into a birdie as long as you don't catch an early tree like we see Jake do here. This is going to make the hole a lot more difficult. So he's probably sitting at least 350, pushing 400 into the pin from here. He's going hyzer flip. And that's a really nice shot. Might give him a birdie putt. Really well done from hitting an early tree. Nick, after that nice forehand off the tee, he's going to go to that nice stock skippy backhand shot. Puts himself super close, very well executed. Now we see Fish and then Nikko after, who both went big off the tee. You'll see this is kind of the benefit of having a big arm and getting a little more aggressive off the tee. You're left with a lot shorter approach. As Nikko, he's probably got less than 200 into the pin. Although his disc isn't quite finishing, maybe a little bit of that wind we were talking about is going to leave him a tester putt. And just leaves it a tad bit short. Surprising that he was actually the farthest away. This seems to be a recurring theme on our coverage, Dave, of best drive of the group and then leaving themselves the longest putt of the group after that.
Yeah, maybe not quite expecting to be so close and having the practice of their right distance and not quite able to dial it down enough to park it.
Yeah, something like that. It says Jake with a really unfortunate miss there. Maybe a little bit of that wind we were talking about affecting his putt. But nonetheless, we'll hop on over to hole 3.
Sponsored by Cosmic Disc Golf. Thanks to them, par 3, 303 feet basket is back into the correct position, not where we're seeing on the drone. The original position back to the right. The tree crew cleaned that up. So we'll be playing more of the forehand or backhand turnover shot. There's also the straight backhand shot to the right to try to see, we can see where the pin is now. A little bit more difficult, more trees come into play than the first round, so we'll see how the players can adjust to throwing a different shot this round.
Yeah, this is definitely a better pin position than where it ended up for round 1. If you're trying to go for that tunnel like Fish did, it is quite tight. The forehand is obviously much more open out wide to the left, but still, you're having to throw a multi-angle shot most likely, which is always a little bit trickier. As Nikko with a huge flare skip there, giving it a pretty good run off the tee. And of course, the river is OB long, so distance control is a must on a hole like this. As Jake's forehand just comes out early, catches a tree. It's going to leave him tricky up and down here, around 200 feet or so. That's very well done. Fish kind of catches that last tree there. It's going to leave him with a much more of a tester putt than it was yesterday. And this wind is kind of ripping, and it just knocks his disc straight to the ground. And that is a very unfortunate bogey. That's going to slow his round down. Definitely not how I'm sure he would have liked to start off today. As Nikko just, his disc is just flopping in the wind. This round is definitely going to be much more exciting on the putting green, I'm sure, with these wins. As Nikko with another low miss putt. Oh my goodness. Yeah, like I said, I'm sure this round will be much more exciting on the greens than the past 2 days with this swirling, strong Texas wind.
Yes, and this is what we've been missing. The first 2 rounds kept saying it unseasonably calm. This is what the people came to see. These courses are actually challenging. If you've been wondering why this seems so easy, it's because it was missing the element of the wind. So now we'll get more of a good representation of what Texas golf is going to look like.
For sure.
And hole 4 will continue that trend with par 3, 320 feet, pretty much straight shot, easy finish to the left. No wind like we saw is a very easy shot. Getting the right distance and the right angle to get your disc just to skip over to the basket will be a little bit of the trick here.
Yeah, you'll probably see players maybe disc up a bit in stability to make sure their disc stays on the line they needed to. That was very well executed from Nick. You can already tell, right? The Texas local has adjusted to the winds much better than his three other competitors already. Maybe, the round is still young, obviously, but off to a great start. You saw Jake take that forehand gap that is over there on the left as well. You kind of have two options on this hole. Fish, he's opting for the backhand gap. Gets a little more skip than maybe he was expecting on that low release, but still will have a long putt. Nikko, he's going with that classic force over backhand line with a really overstable disc, and maybe gets quite a bit of ground play, actually. Leaves him outside the circle for his birdie putt. And quite a bit short as well. Just isn't quite able to connect there. Looks like a ripping tailwind as Fish's putt is also just a little bit off. And Nick as well from maybe 20 feet. Oh my gosh. Jake for redemption, he's able to connect. So 3 missed putts inside of circle 2. 2 inside of circle 1 here on hole 4. And the Texas winds are finally here. And they are taking no prisoners.
That's right. And not only was it a strong, steady wind, it was a bit gusty as well. And during the 3 putters putt routine, it was definitely up higher than it was on the calm parts of the day. So that'll definitely keep the players on their toes as we move over to hole 5, par 3. 300 feet crossing the small pond here, going to the basket that is perched on top of the picnic table. Thanks to On Your Card Disc Golf Fantasy for sponsoring this hole.
Yeah, 300 feet as far as distance goes, this shouldn't be too difficult for these guys. Pretty stock forehand hole. The challenging part of it, obviously, as we're going to be saying it a lot today, is that wind, which looks to be a pretty ripping headwind so far. So both our first 2 players kind of coming up a bit right. Maybe they're just getting caught up in the wind. This is a really tricky shot here from Fish, trying to do a multi-angle shot as he clips the tree. Luckily drops straight down inbounds. So still a par salvageable, but I'm surprised to see Fish not go into the forehand more here early. He has a pretty solid forehand from what I've seen. So maybe just not trusting in this wind. I'm not sure, but makes things a lot more difficult when you have to throw multi-angle shots in the wind as opposed to just, a straight hyzer. As that one kind of clips something and comes up a little short. And just doesn't even want any business with this elevated putt from the circle's edge. Jake, maybe he had a tailwind putt there, but still just comes up short. Nikko with the headwind putt gets lifted and misses. Wow. And Jake's putt gets lifted as well. Oh my goodness. Brutal break. I'm not going to lie, Dave, this is giving me PTSD to round 1 at Vegas. It's too soon. It's too soon.
Yes. Certainly Vegas like wins here.
Yeah, these 15-foot putts when you have to go, elevated putt into a headwind is just impossible.
Impossible.
You gotta aim it at the cage and just hope it lifts. It's just the scariest thing in the world. So I don't blame these guys for, some 3 putts here on hole 5. It is not easy.
Absolutely. And thanks to Slippery Sausage Disc Golf for sponsoring hole 6. It's a par 4, 647 feet. 1 Mando on the right side, preventing you from going too far to the right, kind of having to force you to throw a turnover. Again, gets very open on the right side as you get further up the fairway, so you want to get over there. And then as you approach, there are more trees on the left side still. So wanting to get to over there, and I think the wind is going to help these players get over to that right side as well.
Yeah, this is another one of those par 4s. Just pick a gap, make sure you hit it, bite off as much as you can, and definitely on a day like today, you want to make sure you leave your upshots close because there are no gimme putts if you're outside of honestly 10 feet. So if you're if you want to think that far ahead, oh my gosh, it's Jake with a bit of that's the Mando tree, correct, Dave?
Yeah, he just passed the Mano tree, hit the one just behind it, and went probably another 350 feet straight right. The wind, I think, carried it, so he's gonna be pretty far down the fairway, but way to the right.
Wow, yeah. Honestly, a fortunate break to still be in bounds after that, but he's going to be quite a ways back from the basket, just kind of trying to bite off as much as he can here, get himself back in position, and that is a nice shot.
Yeah, if you can see, he was on the other side of a playground. There was no OB on the right side, so he was just kind of in the park somewhere and having to just continue to play the hole.
Yeah. Not the worst break in the world, Fish. There's the forehand that I've been expecting to see more of this round. Pretty well thrown shot there. He's got a putt. Here's Nick now. He's got a nice little line running the ground pretty well. That's going to leave him really close for a birdie putt. Very nice shot. Let's see if Nikko can correct on some earlier errant upshots here on hole 6, and that is very well done. Nice job to manage the ground play there. Gives it a little bit of a nose up, kind of a slower disc. Minimizes the ground play. Very nice shot, and Jake does the same. Very nice slow speed approach to give himself a very stress-free birdie. Say there you see it. There you see it from Fish. Circle's edge and out is just honestly feels like a prayer at this point. Oh my gosh, as he barely stays in on the left side from 15. This wind is one of those things where your brain only has so much capacity for tester putts in a round. And the more you can minimize that stress, the better your round is going to be overall. So giving yourself tap-ins, giving yourself 5-footers as opposed to 15-footers plays a huge part in this round today and keeping your score as low as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. That is going to carry throughout the round, just keeping your stress level low. As you move over to a string of a few optional water carry holes, hole 7, par 3, 340 feet. The traditional play was to the right, keeping between the trees and the out-of-bounds road. To the right still. We saw some success going over the water in the first round, but I can imagine it being a little bit more difficult with the increased wind conditions.
Yeah, we saw Fish round 1 park it with a kind of a turnover mid-range over the water. I would be very surprised to see that line today. Lines like this are going to play a lot more favorable as Nikko. He's going just kind of stall spike hyzer with something overstable, which is just going to kind of hang out over that road. Get a lot more consistent flight. Jake's going forehand, which I do like, a one angle shot. Keep it on hyzer the whole time. Know that it's going to fade back, and he actually comes up a little bit long, but still a great shot. Fish, he's going for it.
Same exact shot as the first round.
But yeah, just
not
never coming back.
Quite the same result.
Yeah, I'm very surprised to see him go for that. And this much wind. Looks like he's going to come back to the forehand now, still over the water. Oh my gosh. And OB again. Wow. Oh man.
And unfortunately did hit ground, so he got to move up to there. But the 2 out of bounds in a row is going to be not a great result for his score.
Yeah, that's going to be super costly. I'm just very, I guess you can see they're taking a look here. I'm just so surprised that he went for it again after already coming up OB the first time. Like, it's one of those things, it's basically a retee, right? If you don't come back, wow, what a putt to save the double. That's huge. But yeah, after you come up OB the first time, just to try to, salvage your score is just so tough. But yeah, really well done there to, keep the composure, do the best he can as there's that 30-footer from Jake is just so tough.
Yeah, I actually was able to speak with Fish after the round, and he said that he thought it was a bit more of a crosswind than just straight tailwind. So he expected it to push just like it did on the first round, and maybe a bit of a misread or a bit of a swirl as he threw. And obviously we saw the result. So not a bad choice given what he thought the wind was, but just not what the result that he wanted.
Yeah, just an incorrect wind read. Yeah, like that tailwind, like you said, is just going to drop the disc out of the sky. So, and that is what it did. So yeah, tough break there. Nikko with a great birdie. Doesn't go without saying. But as we hop in, hopefully another exciting hole 8.
Yep, another optional water carry hole. To the right, probably looking like the better play today, but some of these plays I'm sure will try to cross. One big tree in the middle to try to avoid if you are trying to cross. Short enough, probably the shortest par 4 on the course, probably by quite a few feet. So we'll see what these players decide to do.
Yeah, Nikko looks like he's going to try to cross. What direction was the wind here, Dave, on this hole?
It was mostly more of a cross. We turned a little bit left compared to the last hole, and still a little bit tail.
Okay, got it. So it's still a pretty favorable distance wind, I would say, but very much angle dependent. Nick, he's going with the safe route. I love this choice. A hole like this at only 548, as long as you keep your disc inbound, should be a pretty easy birdie. So, we saw Nikko come up short. Luckily, he did touch the inbound, so he will be able to get the benefit of crossing. But Jake, he's got plenty of power. He's going to try to go over the top. Plenty of distance to clear, but does catch some of those late trees, so he'll come up a bit short. Still very much in birdie territory, though. Fish, he was able to collect the birdie on round 1, or excuse me, the eagle in round 1. Looking to replicate that. Doesn't quite get as much left to right movement as he would like, but still inbound, so very much a playable shot. Oh no, Nick. As that catches a tree, finds edge right away.
That is the out of bounds for this whole island from hole 12's inbounds island that he rolled into. So it'll be an unfortunate out of bounds stroke after a very unfortunate kick off that tree.
Yeah, really unlucky there after as he goes safe off the tee, and then to get a break like that is just absolutely brutal. Fish does not even want to try for back-to-back eagles on this hole. Just going to take his birdie. Yeah, you can see these guys normally from a 60 to 70 foot distance. You'll see these guys at least give it somewhat of a bid, right? Like at least a half go trying to make it. But on a day like this, they do not want any part of that 15 to 20 foot comebacker. So you'll just see a straight up layup. Good putt there from Jake to get his birdie. Nikko, he's going to have maybe a 15 to 20 footer, maybe even less, maybe 14. Nicely done there. And a couple of cleanups here from Fish and Nick. One for birdie and one for bogey, maybe double.
Yeah, I believe being in par 4, he does just get the one bogey,
Okay.
but
Not too
very
bad.
unfortunate nonetheless. As we move over to last hole, the front 9, thanks to Low Putt Disc Golf for sponsoring this hole. Par 3, 357 feet. A couple trees near the green just to force you to shape a certain shot other than just the whatever you're comfortable with shot. And definitely reachable in this wind. Again, that's just the challenge.
Yep, same direction wind as the last hole. So not the most difficult per se, but yeah, it's just about commitment, right? Find the disc, make the right read, and commit to the line you're gonna go with. Fish makes a nice read himself, and is able to find his way into circle 1. I'm sure Nikko, yep, there's that signature force over flex line that he likes. Doesn't really matter what the wind is, the disc is still gonna fly almost identical, and he parks it. Really nice shot. Looks like, oh, nice line from Nick as well. Gets a little bit of ground play all the way back to Hyzer. Really 4 nice shots from the card. Jake came up a little bit short, so he'll have to lay up his 50-footer or so and just take the par. But we got 3 birdie putts coming up. There's that tailwind. Just drops Fish's putt out of the sky. Yeah, when you're at 35 feet with a ripping tailwind, having to aim, 4 feet over the basket and trust that your disc is going to drop in is not the easiest thing to do. But when you put your tee shot as close as Nick and Nikko did, you don't really have to worry about those putts, which is quite nice on a day like this. So that rounds out the front 9 there. Quite a variety of scores in this ripping win today. This is what you guys came to see, right? This is Texas golf right here. Thank you to our supporting sponsors, the Norse Gods, as well as our other tournament sponsors, as well as our Patreon family for supporting this coverage. Don't go far, though. We're coming back with the back nine, including the signature par 5, coming up right after this. Stay tuned.